Pivot tables. Let's combine pivot table information into groups. This is a key component to a presentable pivot table and a digestible output. We have a bunch of data here. Here's the output. Here's how we're going to do it. I'm going to explain this step by step so you become the pivot table expert in your office. Here we go. Brad Williams, Excel Prime. Combining pivot table information into groups. Here's an example of what we want to complete. We put the states into regions. How do we do this? I'll show you. We're going to switch over to another pivot table. All we need to do is to put these into a range. We have two choices. We can do it manually. We can just right click and hit group. It says group selection. Hit group selection. We haven't grabbed the information. In order to set up a group, we need to highlight a range. What I mean by range, we want to group whatever information. We just need to block it off. Here we have a group of states. Forget the order, just go with me on this one. We just go to group, put it into a group. Don't be confused by this other information. Our group is California, Colorado, Florida, and Illinois. Now we have Nevada, New York, Oregon, and Washington. If we want to put that into a group, just highlight it and go to group. Now we have two groups. To change the name, just go to group 1 and go region 1. If we want to go to group and change group 2, we go up to the formula bar and put region 2. And that's how easy it is to group information. You can go in and you can mess around with this all you want. See how it counts the information now. Region 1 has 45 and region 2 has 50 and 95. You can do the math. That's the region deal. You can narrow this down if you want. In other words, you can just show region 1, region 2. You can expand it. I just shrunk the information. Before moving on to another example, let me point out something very important here, and that is when we hide information, you see how we have rows hidden here from 13 to 195? Look what happens. It cuts off the pivot table. How do we fix that? Well, we go in, we're going to highlight this area, we're going to unhide, and now you can see your pivot table. Go back in, and then to readjust this, hit view, split. You can close this, scroll down, grab maybe from row 26 to 197 of the 200 rows, hide. We're accomplishing the same thing, but now we can view our pivot table. Let's move on to a new example. This next example will have a date. Go over here, pivot table sales, exact same layout, except for we have random dates from January 1st, 2021 through 12/31/21. And what we want to do, sort this by for quarters. We want to bring in quarterly counts. We'll remove all this other stuff just for an example. We hit date, and now we have date information. And you can see it starts getting kind of crazy. So let's get rid of dates, gender. Well, we need gender. Dates, employees, and months. And now we have employee. And we should have count of employee. You see how we have this string of data? We can group this. And all we have to do is just grab any number here in the date function. Grab this, hit group. We can see here, we have a lot of choices. We right click, that's all we did was right click the data. Do we want day, months? No, we want quarterly information. So let's get rid of the days and the months and just hit quarters. We want the range 1/2/21 to 1/1/22. Now we have quarterly data and a count. If you want a percentage, you know what to do. We can just go to count of employee. We can drag that down. We can change this to count. Hit OK. We can right click and say show value as a percentage of the column. We can see quarterly 47 count. 70, and what have you. You can always go back in and change this. You can see the layout here. You can see the date, it's the same, and pretty much everything else is the same. We just put this into a group. Here is the path, pivot table. You want to be in the pivot table. Go to group, hit group. You want to identify your group, modify it accordingly. You want to remove all this, there's two things you can do. We can ungroup this group just by hitting ungroup. And we can go back and shut date off, grab gender and drag it down here. And can grab state and drag it down here to values. Or we can drag it to here. Or we can drag it here. It's up to you. But if you go here, we have the group. Here it's female or male. If you want it reversed, you can put the gender count over here. A lot of versatility. If you want to put these in ranges, they're already in ranges, but you can modify this any way you'd like. You can put a filter there, date, turn the date back on, move the date around, put the gender over here. There's a lot of flexibility within these pivot tables in terms of design. One last example for this session. Here we have time, and it's just a date. It's 8 hours of time. You can extend this to 24 if you'd like. It's just flat information. It's not a table. We can put it into a table if we want. For this purpose, we're just going to keep it very simple. We're going to insert a pivot table. So insert pivot table, table range. We're going to capture this entire range. We have 503 rows. You can see it's split here. It's split here between 29 and 50. You know how to unsplit this. Highlight the range 29 to 50, the rows, hit unhide. Here we have this data. We have sheet 5, A3 to 503. That's fine. Location. We want to put it right here. We're going to hit OK. Here we have two readings. We have time and we have reading. We can capture reading and just pull it down to here, or we can just click the two. We have row label and a sum of readings. We have the dates here. We have the time. Be sure to check out all of our Excel courses. Excel data and text manipulation. We have an advanced beginners and an intermediate course. Excel essentials. This is for individuals new to Excel. We have an advanced, excellent beginners, level 1 and level 2, and intermediate level course. Excel formulas, formulas only. We have a beginner, an advanced, and an intermediate level course. Click on any of the links. There's a short video that explains everything about the course. Check it out. Now, what we want to do is clean this up a little bit so it's readable. We want to put this into hours. Right click, group. We have different options here. We can go to hours, unclick months, and now we have hours. Makes it much easier to read. And then we have sum of reading. Our goal here is we want an average, and we want a minimum, and we want a max. We can just go readings. Before you change this information, right click, show value as, summarize values by average. And I said, don't change this name yet until you put in average. Now you can go up here and just put average. Hit OK. You scratch your head going, well, you said you want max and min. Let me just show you. We're just going to center this. As we did with the previous example with count, remember we wanted the count and we wanted percentage of column totals. Here we want average, we want max, and we want min. All we have to do is grab the reading and just pull down, and now we have sum of reading. We can grab reading again, and then we have a second and a third column. We just repeat what we did earlier. Just go to sum of reading, summarized by max, over here to the next column. Right click, summarized by min, and note it will change max of reading. And if you want to change the text, hit max and hit min. You can center this however you want. To change the structure, just highlight the data here, go up to the ribbon and hit the comma style. If you want to change the appearance, go up to design, find something that works for you. Since we've been working with green, we can look at this a little bit and go, well, this is conservative. So we have this format, and that's how simple it is to change date and time over into something readable. Here we have the normal time, and we have an average, max and min. Brad Williams, XL Prime, thank you.